the hour, so we're going to get started. And thanks everybody for joining. And those who jump on in a minute here, just feel free to ask questions in this mastermind. This is not a lecture. This is actually going to be Braden and I kind of talking about some of the really cool things that Captivate can do. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Everybody knows Braden. How can you not? Or at least I don't know how you got onboarded if you didn't.
Yeah. I don't know how you onboarded your account without meeting with me.
I've been working with Mike across the years. We go way back, and we go back to sort of the pre-beginnings before Captivate was Captivate in the version 1.0, where a lot of these great, awesome concepts of Mike got created. And I ended up with Mike separated, went different spaces in our career, and I ended up taking a lot of this coaching across the country, speaking to thousands of real estate agents from Florida to California and everywhere in between. And so had a lot of good experience with these concepts. And we're going to, hopefully in this mastermind, a lot of times when we're trying to share everything, we just sort of unload and we give you almost the fire hose.
Yeah,
right?
At least.
Because we have so much that the system can do, so much of Mike's concepts that some of you have taken over the weeks and months. The point of the mastermind is we're going to dial in. We're going to look at something very specifically, how that is preferably a lead generation opportunity, right? Mike, if you remember, Mike has the three things, the three balls, right? What are they?
So it's going to be lead generation, lead nurturing, and transaction management.
Okay, so we're going to take one of those and we're going to dive deep into it and see how it works and make sure it becomes actionable for you guys. And this is not a lecture. We're going to sort of have like a 15-minute show and tell. And then after that, we're going to talk about how it's working for you. If you've tried it, if you haven't tried it, best practices, what the group has tried. And we're going to learn from not just us, but from each other, and hopefully take our game to a higher level.
Right? Absolutely.
So that's why we were asking if your microphones work, because you will be a part of the mastermind.
We want it to be a conversation and not just a lecture.
Yep.
So
a little housekeeping before we get started. A lot of you might have been asking about the smart plans. Can we share a screen?
Yep.
Okay, so the smart plans are coming. Several of them are already built into the system, and others are written. All the marketing content written by Mike, and we're getting that built into the system. So let's see if we can share a screen here.
Where did it go?
Okay,
I'm sharing it. It is.
There it is. Yeah, there you go. So here in Smart Plans, these are not, we'll ultimately launch these out as a group, but I want to just give you a quick preview. To keep it simple, since there's a lot of plans and in the system, we're gonna start them all with Cap 8, like Captivate. And so currently the pathway to qualification is in there. Let's click on that and so just kind of see all that goes in one of these. So auto email that goes out to your client, and then a notification that comes straight to you telling you what's going on and what you kind of need to do next. Any resources that you might need, either whether those are in the website under coaching or training, or any tutorials that Braden's created, anything.
Anywhere in there.
Yep. So all of that will come straight to you. So you've got that in hand. And then there's a drip campaign based on, in this example, the pathway to qualification of first-time home buyers. And all of this written by these marketing messages written by Mike, built in, ready to go out. And we'll teach you how these launch and how you can make them launch automatically, how you can pause them, move on to the next step in the pipeline. So lots of cool stuff. And we'll take a whole mastermind, or maybe even a few. We'll take a few masterminds.
Yes, we will take a few masterminds to dive into the smart plans, understanding them, and how to leverage them.
But mostly just want to let you know that they're getting built. There's several more coming, and we're going to launch that very soon. So just an FYI. So again, sort of the format of these masterminds, 15 minutes, Braden or I, or both of us, a little show and tell.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to talk about actionable ways to help you generate leads and help you make more money, which is why we're all here.
Yeah.
Right? The rest of the 30 minutes are going to be an open Q&A. And we're going to start off first talking about that topic. And then if we exhaust that, then we'll go into anything else that you might have questions for, technical issues or and anything
And-
hopefully
and
related to one of
question
those
along the
three
line,
things, you know, generating new leads, nurturing them, or driving transactions efficiently.
Yeah.
So today, what's the topic for today?
So we're going to jump into listing blast, because that is a way that you can leverage the system to generate leads for a cheapish amount of money. I mean, you're not having to spend thousands of dollars to generate leads using Zillow or Realtor.com.
And we know those other leads, Zillow, Realtor, they're not exclusive.
No, they're not. I mean, you're competing agent to agent on those.
Right. So it's nice to have leads that are very own.
Yes.
We're not sharing with anybody.
Driving them straight through your website, through your system. Yeah. You can see what they're looking at, what they're doing, all the actionable items that they're doing. And so you can follow along the pathway and understanding what your client needs and giving it to them at the right timing.
And you had seen some of this, and Mike had demoed it. So let's go into Mike's account.
Okay.
And we're going to share a screen again. And then we'll actually
do that.
Share some of what we've been doing this week, because we've been launching it ourselves, and already had, spoiler alert, we had some success. So all right, is this
is Mike's account?
This is Mike's account. So you'd seen Mike, he demoed this page. He'd spent $100. He had 8 new leads come out of this effort. So that's not bad for $100.
No. I mean, cost per lead, $12.70 a lead.
Yeah. And what are you paying at UpNest?
UpNest, you're paying 30% of the total commission off the top.
Yeah, that's pretty steep.
Thousands of dollars for every deal that you close.
Okay. So obviously a nice way of getting leads. And we had, in the last class, I was here in Utah, and I got a chance to talk to the Deadmans. They had been using the listing blast and having success with it. Our Deadmans, are you on with us today?
Let's see. I don't think they are.
Unfortunately, they got the message late.
Yeah, I don't think they're on.
Anyway, so we were down in the other at the title company, and I was talking to him after the class. He was saying that he had put out the Facebook ads, been doing that long time, and he had never gotten all the money he spent, all the time he'd done that, he'd never come up with a lead
with generating leads.
Yeah,
which I mean, that's...
and then he was spending a couple $100, or even 100. I think he was only spending about 100 per listing, but he was doing it consistently. And he's saying this is the best lead source he's ever had for the money.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
And that's awesome.
We know Mike had gotten leads. So Braden and I were talking about this, and like, well, let's give this a roll.
Let's shoot on our side of it and test it out.
Okay, so we know. Well, Braden, you had a listing. So tell us about your listing.
Yes. So I've got a listing, and I mean, it's a single family home, but like there's nothing fancy about it. My sellers didn't want to put much money into making it look pretty before going to market. So I know it's not the most attractive listing on the market. And so part of what Eric and I were discussing was like being able to do a listing blast on, if you have a beautiful listing, blasting that out there, driving leads through beautiful homes. I was a little hesitant because I was like, well, I know my listing doesn't look the best. And so it's like, do I dare do the listing blast with it?
And you kind of have to, because you're probably committed to your clients. Well, you were going to promote it.
Well, yeah. And when we first went to market, I did the Facebook marketing ads like Mike had taught previously before we started doing the system. Yeah. And I generated 0 leads through that.
Okay. That's the exact sort of
return
scenario that the Deadmans had,
Yep.
And so we're talking about this, and we're like, well, it would be nice to have a nice listing. I mean, if in your perfect world, if you were going to advertise something, you would want it to be in the nicest neighborhood, because that's going to sell. You're all agents. You all know that. You would want it to be that shows the nicest, right? You'd want it to be cute. You'd want the people who go into it just fall in love with it, right?
Absolutely.
But that's not your listing.
No, and you want to make sure that it's got the good pictures, the Matterport, the videos,
right? All the things that we talked about.
Which we have the pictures, we have everything, but it's not the
prettiest list. Okay, so you were thinking, you're like, wait a minute, Ashley's got a cute listing.
Yeah, Ashley has a really good listing, and so decided to leverage that.
Yeah, so like, what if you reached out to Ashley and asked if you could promote hers?
Yeah,
and so we started thinking about that. Braden starts writing up. Here, let's jump into what the message you sent to Ashley.
Yes. So
we'll send you this text. So we were like, what would you send to an agent?
Oh, that blurs it.
That's fine.
Let's see. You can read that for the most part.
So if you want, you read it out.
So while Eric and I were chatting, I was like, I'm gonna text Ashley. Hey Ashley, I want to promote your listing at 138 North Valcrest Drive, Saratoga Springs, Utah, on social media. I need your permission and the seller's written permission. Here's the message I use to ask for approval. A colleague wants to market your home on social media and invest in advertising to attract more buyers. They just need your approval. If you agree, text me yes. If you have questions, text or call me. If they agree, send me a screenshot of their message and a yes from you. Thanks.
Okay, so he's banging that out, and then we sort of start. You had sent that.
I sent this.
You know, Braden, text, boom, send. He's that generation. I might think about it or call, right? But texts are going out.
Sent it out real quick while Eric and I were.
So we're still talking about this. I'm like, okay, I have a background that also very wide background that also includes regulatory compliance. And I'm like, okay, we need to make sure we're checking, crossing our I's or crossing the T's and dotting our I's, right?
Eyes, yep. Making sure we check it.
We knew we had to have the listing agent's permission.
Yes.
And we knew that they had to get credit in the ad that goes out somehow, right?
Yes.
And so we're like, well, let's just call your broker. So you call your broker, and did they know about this?
So I called up my broker, and I had asked her if she's familiar with the Captivate CRM and how the listing blasts work and stuff. And I was like, I just want to make sure that I'm within compliance if I want to market another agent's listing. And my broker tells me there's 3 key things to make sure I do.
Well, she knew it right away.
She knew it out of the gate. I mean, there was no questions asked. She was like, hey, I know exactly what you're going for. Here's your 3 things. You need written permission from the listing agent, written permission from the seller, and that can be text or email. And then you need to make sure that the credited brokerage is within 1 click away from the ad itself.
Okay, so let's look at that in the system. How does that 1 click work? So let's look at an ad. We've got one.
Yep.
So let's look at the ad first.
So the ad is right here.
Okay, so here's our ad, and it doesn't really say anything about us or them or anybody, right?
Nope.
So other than your name's at the top of that. So let's click through where the ad would take us. Let's go to that screen.
So the ad takes us to this link right here.
Okay, not a surprise. You've seen this. This is your website.
This is
right. You have these pages. And let's scroll down, and obviously you got the images, the Matterport. You've got your request for a showing. Now let's scroll down, and right below, let's highlight that. Listed by Equity Real Estate Advantage. Okay, that's where the listing broker gets credit.
That's the accredited brokerage.
Right? And is this unusual?
No.
Why is this not unusual?
It's because it's IDX fed.
IDX-fed.
All of our websites are IDX fed, and Captivate CRM worked with the MLS to make sure it's all within compliance.
Right. And so this is no different than a realtor.com, because realtor.com isn't an agent, right? So they're doing the same thing. They're pulling from Wasatch Front MLS and they're pulling it into realtor.com. We're doing the exact same thing, and our system does it automatically. And we were 1 click away.
Yep.
Right. They clicked the ad. It took them here. There's the compliance.
There's the credit.
Check the box.
Yep.
Okay. Now we only needed 2 things, right? Now we needed permission from the listing agent, and we needed permission from the seller, written permission.
Yes.
So how did we get that?
So Ashley took the text that I had sent out. And I've got a screenshot of
He's gonna pull that up. Ashley, are you on? Can you unmute?
She is on.
I am on.
Okay, so you get this text from Braden out of the blue.
Yeah.
And tell us what happened after that.
I copied and pasted and sent it to my clients, and my client called me right away, and he's like, why does he want to advertise this listing? Is this something, am I going to have to pay more money? And I said, no, you're not going to have to pay more money. I said, it's a great way for him to get buyers, and he's helping advertise our listing, which he's going to have a different audience than I do. Of course, it goes out everywhere, and I do my own advertising, but this is just helping us out. And he said, well, if it doesn't cost me more money, then I don't see why not. So they said, okay. I said, then just reply yes to the text. So then Braden had that in writing. And so they replied back yes. And honestly, so I paid we're doing another open house this weekend, and I spent $100 for my lead. And mind you, when I did this the first time, I got 4 leads right away from just sending out the blast. And then I just sent out another blast for an open house, and my showings have just kicked right up. And then I'm sure what Braden's doing as well, that's helping. But it's interesting to see, like, it really does work. It really does drive business, whether you are getting new leads or if it's just increasing the activity on your own listing, which in my case, it did both.
So that the money you spent the first go, like, how much did you spend?
$100
And what was the result?
4 leads.
Okay, $25 a lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad, especially
too
for ones
shabby.
you have to pay for. Now, these leads, and Mike has shown this, since they're gone to our website, what advantage do we have? Like, what advantage did you see, Ashley?
Well, then they can click around on my website and start playing around. I'm still, they're not fully converted, but they are in my system, and I can set them up on hot sheets to start going out in Saratoga, because that's where my listing is. So let's hit up Saratoga, Eagle Mountain, and I can start feeding them things, and hopefully it will come back. And if not, it was worth it to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you gained their permission to start emailing them because they opted in as a lead.
Yep.
So awesome. So you have the ability to legal contact them, to market them.
Yep.
So awesome. So we're going through this and we start to think, well, if we could do this with Ashley, and by the way, the couple of people asked, will we send out that text with sort of the blurb? Absolutely. We'll send that to everybody.
We will. Yep.
We'll send you the pre-written text, and you can modify it and change it. You will notice, and I've been across the country doing this, where I go out and go ask for someone's permission to do something kind of crazy like this. And when it's like, can I market your property for you? You know how many times I get a no? It has happened, but it's really low.
It's slim to none.
And some of that is just in how you approach the person.
For sure.
And you may need to kind of work through that and try that on a few people to kind of find your way of talking about it.
Yeah.
And if you have questions about that, call us. We'll help you. So we're compliant. We're getting leads. We're getting them cheap. What did we do with that permission?
I took a screenshot of so Ashley sent me the screenshot of her seller saying yes.
Are we sharing?
Yep. We're still sharing here.
Okay.
And I've got Ashley in my database as an agent.
Okay. How did we put Ashley in our database?
I just went to add new lead, and then when I put her in here for lead type, I just selected agent.
Okay.
And that's because she's a licensed agent, and I just want to be able to keep track of if I ever get questioned, if I had written permission from the seller, whether my phone crashes, I lose information, I lose text threads, whatever. I want to make sure I've got that written permission saved somewhere, just in case. I mean, we all want to make sure we're covering ourselves. So I took a screenshot and I dropped it inside the document section here. And with Ashley's client, as you can see, she sent the text and her client said yes. So I've got written authorization right there, and we're good to go.
Okay. So thank you, CRM, right?
Yep.
Now we have to keep Ashley in a pipeline step. How do we do that? Because every contact you have has to be in a pipeline step by some default.
Yeah. So I put Ashley in partners because she's a partner in the industry.
Okay.
So I mean, it just
you can put loan officers in there. You can put
loan officers,
CPAs,
escrow, CPAs,
anybody,
roofers, anybody that you would consider as a partner. That's where I'd be putting them.
Yeah. And Mike's talked about partners and teams before, so this is where we're going to house those folks in our CRM. Okay, cool. So we've got permission. Things are going out, and so you decided now that you have permission, you're going to blast this. So
I'm going to blast it myself.
How'd that go? What did you do?
So when you go through marketing, listing, blast, I just grabbed the address. I mean, this is live right now. You can see I've spent $30.32. I did the lowest budget possible. And I wanted to compare my listing against Ashley's listing just to see how it runs. Up to this point in time, I've spent $62. I have 841 impressions.
Since when?
Since Monday.
Since Monday. Okay.
27 clicks. So you'll see a little discrepancy here. I've got 4 engaged leads versus 3 new leads. The engaged versus new means someone within my database and or someone who's already registered as a new lead did a duplicate account of some sort. And so
this isn't smart enough to parse those out.
Yep. So I've got 3 new leads from running these 2 listing blasts. Cost per lead is at $15.50.
Okay, technically higher because you're 3 news. You're about $20.
Yeah, about $20 ahead.
That's sort of tracking with Ashley. So $30 this a lead with taxes and all that. So okay, pretty cool. And then you can again track their clicks, see what they're looking at. Yeah, let's see what they're looking at.
So this is a lead that I had come in. It was actually funny. I was sitting with Eric. This was yesterday. They registered immediately, so they looked at my listing. And then immediately following, so you can see 1258, 1 minute later, now they're looking at properties at 107, 178. So now they're looking at mobile homes.
They looked at your pretty
they-
property,
they-
and then started looking at mobile
They
homes.
looked at my property and looked at mobile homes.
Nice.
Well,
Client's a client.
client's a client.
That's right.
Information. So, but no, I mean, being able to track what the clients are doing, what these people are clicking on, understanding where they're looking.
Yeah, helps
I mean,
you.
leverage that, set up hot sheets, sending out reminders, sending notifications, and seeing if you can convert.
Okay, now what does Mike say to do when we get a lead in?
Double dial.
What does that mean? What do I mean double dial?
So double dial, you call them once. If they don't answer, you hang up. Don't leave a message on the first one. You call back a second time, because I don't know about you, but if I see the same number call me twice, in my brain, this is probably something I should pick up. And so I called them a second time, no answer. Sent them a text, and they replied. They said it's not Logan, but Logan or not, this person is actively shopping for homes. And so now it's a matter of, let's keep dripping them content, dripping them hot sheets, and seeing if I can get it to convert and figure out who it is.
Cool. Okay, so some folks have asked us the questions about an ROI, right? So does every lead convert? Do we get you got 4 leads? Is that 4 new closings?
No.
Yeah, that's not how leads work.
Unfortunately, that's just not how it works.
It's not how leads work. We need a whole bunch of those leads to come in and convert those. But what if? But we know we're spending. Oh, let's round it up and call it $30, right? What is the average Utah County? What's the average home price?
$515.
Okay, $515. And let's say you're not getting 3%. Let's say you're getting 2.5.
2.5. Yep.
So
that'd be about 12.5 or so.
12.5. Okay, so 12,500, and you're spending $25 a lead. Let's do some little math on our phones here. So how many leads can you burn before you need one to break even? So 12,500. Yeah, I know you got some splits in there, but let's make this easy. Divide by 30. 416 leads, and you got to convert 1 out of 416.
I'm pretty sure I could do that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. That's our break even. Now we're hoping that's a lot more than that. In fact, if y'all know direct mail, you're usually 2% or less for a lead. And so let's divide this by 2%. Let's say we're only closing 0.02, right?
Yep.
What did I do? Times 0.02. So that's 8.3. So now that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
If we can convert at that rate. So, all right. So let's open this up. If we've got some questions, because some of you have tried it. So let's hear from you guys, experiences, questions. So we're opening the floor. Just unmute your mic and
ask away.
Ask away.
Not everybody.
No, everybody wants to. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sam.
We've got a guest.
We've got good old Mike here.
So you can
This
ask.
is awesome. This is great. I love it.
So, all right, I'm going to start there. There we go. Mark.
I did a listing blast on my listing, and I got 3 leads come in.
You got 3 leads. Awesome. And then are you in conversation with any of them right now?
I'm trying to get in conversation with yes. And then on the open house, I got doing the promotional ad. I had 5 leads come in, 2 of which now are my buyers that I signed up.
What?
So you're at 8 leads. How much did you spend, Mark?
On the first one, I spent 98, and this other one, we're still going about 100.
Yeah, everybody, if you're not doing this, man, you got to get on this.
just go try it.
And here's the thing. So I want to make a point, because not everybody. We have agents from all ranges and time in the industry. Some of you have been doing it for 20 years, and some of you are just getting started. So not everybody has a cool listing, right? And that was kind of the whole point of this, is that you can be a brand spanking new agent, or you can be an existing agent, and you can go pick something in Sugar House, or find a cool listing, blast that one.
Well, and part of why I picked Ashley's listing is while Eric and I were on the call, Eric's like, "What's the hottest area in Utah County right now?" I said Lehigh, and Eric's like, "Well, let's Google it." According to Google, it's Saratoga Springs, and then median sale price is $515. I mean, and Ashley's a little above that. I mean, but you can go a little above, a little below, and and cherry pick the good looking listings that are right there at the right sales price to drive traffic.
And the agents love it, because you're spending money
on their
listing, right? And you gain a new friend in the industry.
So one thing to clarify, so you know how this all works, is that when you use the system, the Captivate CRM, to put an ad out, it actually promotes the property. So it's not promoting you, which is
Mhm.
nice because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for
Yeah.
homes, not for
Not a
people,
sales
pitch. Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
And then on Facebook or Instagram, because it goes out on both, the person is actually giving their real information because they want information about that property. So when it comes into your database, it actually comes in as a real name with a real phone number
Right.
and a real email address, and
Mhm.
it's now in your system. So even if these leads aren't responding right away, when you put a property alert along with it, and you can do a market report as
Mhm.
well that they're going to get on a regular basis, even if they buy 6 months down the road, you still have an actual lead in your database. This is about growing your database,
Mhm,
giving them helpful information about properties, whether they buy right now or whether they buy in 6 months. You've got a real person now in your database for that cost. So I don't want you to think that if I don't convert this person
Right now. Yeah.
and they don't buy
Yeah.
this property, you've now got real people in your database that you can keep marketing to. And because of the AI that's built in and the automation of the property alerts and things like that, you're continuing to nurture them over time, which is really what to me, conversion in real estate requires a nurture process. That's why
Absolutely.
that second
Yep.
ball is the nurturing that lead. So please don't feel like if I spent $100 and I only got one person that converted, that
Yeah.
sounds good. If I don't get any, please know that this is going to build up.
Yeah.
And over time you could have thousands of people in the database that you're
Mhm.
giving them meaningful information and they're there.
And you're going to hit them
Yeah.
in that life cycle right at the right time because
Yeah.
the system's keeping track of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just browsing, and that's fine.
That's
Let them
just
browse,
fine.
but you
Yeah.
have their real name, their real phone number, and
Right.
their real email address.
And we've heard from Mike before. How long is it that somebody shops before they actually pull the trigger?
Full years when they start thinking about it.
Right. So if you're catching them at the beginning,
That's
and
right.
they're in your
Nurture
database,
them for
and you
12
got
months.
their
Yeah.
name
Oh, yeah.
for $25.
Yeah.
I don't know how you go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as most agents don't have a lot of meaningful information to give these leads, right? They
Mhm.
call them and call them and call them until,
Yeah.
they annoy them to death, right?
Uh-huh.
You remember
Uh-huh.
doing that.
I
with
did
the
that,
brokerage you were
yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Now they can get dripped with really, here's another house you can look at. That's why you saw with Braden's, they're starting to look at all these other properties. They'll keep doing that until they finally buy. If you're the agent, that's the website they're going to. When they finally see that home they want to see, and it says, when do you want to see this home, right? When do you want to tour it?
Who's there?
Even virtual, you're going to be
It's
right
you
there.
that's right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Elisa, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have two questions.
Go.
One of them, there's a couple of registrations. So I've given people like my link to my app as well.
Yeah.
I also gave it to my daughter, and she's been giving it to people, right? The one person she had given it to, when they signed up, it assigned them a different agent, and she doesn't know how to change that. How?
So I've had that happen as well before. Tell the client to uninstall and reinstall the app. It's funny, but that's when I reached out to the Lofty support backend. That's what they had told me, and I had my clients do that. Uninstall, went right back through my link, and reinstalled the app, and it did. I don't know exactly how that works, but it did work.
Okay.
In the event that it doesn't work, you can reach out to Lofty support directly and say, hey, this client, I'm sending my direct link. It's not working. Can you guys move the lead over? And they're happy to work with you and get it moved over on their end of it.
Yeah, and just so you know, the reason this happens is that it's one app, but it's tied as the unique ID to the email address. If there's some possibility that client worked with another agent at some point that also used that same app, it still ties them to that person. So yeah, that's why you have to go through that process. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. But it's only because they were already tied to some other agent for some reason, went to their website.
Yeah. A single
Registered.
click could have tied them. So
Yeah. I mean, if they clicked on some other ad, downloaded the app, and that was in the connection. So
Okay. And then question number two, the leads that have been coming in, like some of them are like J9FH 2V2. How do you go about saying, do you send them an email or a text and say, hey, could you register your name? And or I think one of these is, I'm thinking it's my, one of my clients that wants to look for commercial, but I don't know because it says phone
Did
number.
this come in through an ad, or did it come in through registration for the app?
It
Or
Closely app.
Okay, the close app, yeah. Yeah, so they can really put anything they want in there. But once you have hopefully a legitimate email or phone number, you can start dripping them. Like if you kind of have an idea of what area they're looking in, send a property alert right away. One of the first things I always do when I have a lead comes in that's a buyer is I try to get even if I have to guess, an idea of where they're looking, and I send out property alerts. And then I also send out a market report for the area. But my job is to try to get a hold of them. Once you get a hold of them, obviously you can update that information. But it is possible that they don't put in their real information on the app because they can fill out whatever they want. The nice thing about the Instagram and Facebook ads is it pulls their information actually from their profile. So you're getting legit names and stuff because it's actually pulling from the profile.
And to a part two to that, when I have people register with a fake name or whatever, I use True People Search is what I use, and I go look up their phone number, and usually you can tie that back in the side of their profile. So like if you go to True People Search, punch in the phone number using that search feature, it'll list a million people because that number has been transferred from person to person. But then I also start looking at, if I open up the top result, there's an email section in there as well. And if the email there matches an email that they put into the system, I'm pretty confident, and I'll go and switch the name myself on there. Because as the hot sheets go out, if it has the wrong name, they'll be like, hey, this isn't so-and-so, this is so-and-so. And now, now you've got their name.
Yeah.
And
just so you know, the nice thing about those hot sheets or the property alerts is that if you can see if they click on something, right? So I don't want you to waste your time chasing after illegitimate leads. But if you see that they've clicked on something, I'll actually take the link, which goes to your website, right? And then I'll use my own text. I won't use the text within the system because it's not your phone number. It's great for the average, the
auto text to go out and
auto text. But what I'll do is I'll just write a quick message that says, hey, John, or if you don't know their name, just say, hey, I noticed you're looking at this home. When would you like to see it? Something as quick and easy as that. And then I'll send that message, and then I'll send the link afterwards. Don't send it at the same time, but I'll send the link to that property. So then it shows up on there. When you get a text with an address, it shows up with that picture of the home. Then they click on it. I can see they clicked on it again, right? And then they'll respond to that. So make it about the home, not about you trying to get their name or trying to get their information. Just say, hey, I noticed you're looking at this house. When would you like to see it? I'll send that text. And a lot of times I'm getting a response from that.
Of some sort, yeah.
Okay, we got some other hands.
Awesome. So Julie and then Liz will get you next.
Oh, got to unmute.
Got to unmute Julie.
Thanks. I just realized that I had a listing and boosted it and had have received leads from it. But my question is, maybe you already answered it, Mike. What do you suggest doing after you get those leads? I mean, obviously I called and text and they're put into my CRM, and then what's the follow-up? Is it the property alert? What do you suggest?
Yeah, first thing I always do is a property alert, even if I have to guess based on what they clicked on, right? What home they looked at. I'll pick the city, like in this, what they're talking about with Saratoga Springs. I'll pick Saratoga Springs. I'll maybe do $50,000 more on the price point that they selected, just to kind of give an idea until I know for sure what they want, they want. So that's the first thing. Then I do a market report. Basically, it's a monthly report that goes out about in that city what the market's like, how long it's taking homes to sell, average price point. So I do that for sure. Then on my own text, like I just said, my next step, we should probably do a video for this, right?
Yeah.
That's what I just wrote down. I need to make a video for this one. But
on the next step is I will use my own text, right? So I won't text them through the system, but I'll send through my own text that, hey, I just noticed you looked at this home. When would you like to see it? Like I just said before, here's a picture of the property. And then if you really want to be bold, which I'm doing, is I created, and I showed you the listing video that I did. I also did a buying video, what I do to help buyers, and I send that video. And I found that by doing all that, I get a lot more response. I'll even call them, sometimes double dial, and get people to actually answer. And I've had people tell me all sorts of things. Oh, I'm just looking. I'm not sure if I qualify. The last person I talked to said they're going through divorce, so they don't know how long it's going to be before that's all settled. But I now have a conversation with a real person, and I'm sending them property alerts. And then I'll ask them, well, when you are ready, where are you looking? And it's kind of funny. They clicked on a Saratoga Springs home, but they're looking in Layton, and I'm like, So,
It's funny
yeah.
how that works.
And so I'll clarify that, then I'll, put the new property alert in there. But those leads have been really, really good.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
Let's go to Liz.
Thanks.
Hey,
Howdy.
nice to see you guys.
Good to see you, Liz.
I guess my questions are like drip system questions. So maybe you guys are still learning, but I'll ask and maybe we'll see what we need to figure out. But so I did have a question on that last one. So like I did an open house and I got some buyer leads that put in their email and I added them to a smart plan looking to buy in 1 to 3 months. In my mind, I assumed it was putting them on a hot sheet with the smart plan, but it sounds like I need to do that manually.
Those are two different things. You'll need to go set up their hot sheets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
Yeah. Just to be clear, anytime you have a homeowner in your database and you know that they're a homeowner and you know the address, always send a home report. They'll get that regularly from you. Every single homeowner in your database. Every buyer should be getting or potential buyer, even if they're a few months out, should be getting a property alert. They can both get market reports, but those 3 engagements specifically are super important because remember, even though your nurture campaigns, the emails that we've created for you that you can, put in there based on where they are in the pipeline, et cetera, are good. Nothing is better than properties, either their own and what it's worth, or the property area that they're looking in that of homes available. Those are the 2 most golden, nurture items that you can send out.
Most compelling.
Most compelling to them, right? So just keep sending them out. And then remember when you do your power hour during Tuesday and Thursday, you just go in there and you look at the latest touch or the lead score and just go to the lowest hanging fruit. Who's actually interacting with these things? And then make that your reason to contact them. It's actually the best reason. Hey, I noticed you've been looking at this house, or I noticed that you have $260,000 in equity. What do you want to do with it? Those are the best conversations, even more so than these nurture campaigns that allude to that. But when you can give them specific, this is the house you looked at, or this is how much equity you have, you're going to get a lot more response rate from that than anything generic.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. I just assumed that the AI is so smart. I was assuming it was like putting a hot sheet in the smart plan. So
And I would
one day
check on that. So
yeah, it doesn't now. You have to create the property alert.
Yeah.
But I still feel like that's such a good way for you to be. We want the AI to help facilitate in between conversations, but not to be the main. You're the voice that needs to be. So you putting that in and then you going back on your power hour to see who's engaged is going to make that effort much better than just any AI could do, at least right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I think I figured it out, but just confirmation. So I had them sign in to the open house QR code. And then it added them to my Lofty. I think so a lot of them didn't put their phone numbers in, but they all put their email address. I think the ones that put in their phone number, AI sent them a message. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it'll text and email. It'll do both actually.
Okay.
So, but texting is primary what AI tries to do because it's quicker, faster way for it to ask really, really short questions.
Yeah, I liked it. It was like, thanks for coming to the open house today. And then I was like, why didn't it send it to all? But it's because they didn't put in their phone number.
Yeah.
So,
But those reports, like the property alert and the market report, those go out via email.
Yeah,
and
so I'll add them.
Information. So those are really good. Using text on your in the Captivate CRM still gives them that option to opt out. So typically I'll just use my own text when it's not something that AI is doing or something that the system's doing.
Well, now they have a phone number on their phone.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Jana, looks like you had a question.
Okay, so when I go to do a market report and I type in the city, there is not, the city doesn't auto-populate. Do I need to do something? I think I'm remembering that I needed to set that up somehow for the individual cities.
Yeah, so you're talking about the market report, right?
Huh?
Yeah,
So
it
if I
should.
want to set a market report then, and I type in the city, it says there's no information available for this city.
Yeah, one thing is that it's very specific. Like, just type it in slowly until it finds it. It's not going to take, like, we might abbreviate, something, and so just I've noticed this, that if it doesn't automatically grab it because it already knows where the area that they live in is, if it's their own property, it'll just grab it. But if it's not, just start typing it in and wait till the drop down list populates.
And Jana, is this happening when you're trying to search for the city, or is this when you're trying to click on like save or continue, whatever? I don't know exactly what the word is there.
It's when I'm trying to search for the city. So like I'm in it right now and I'm typing in for Draper and I have DRAP and nothing, like very slowly, nothing has come up. So if I go, so let me back up and tell you how I got here, just to make sure. I go to my lead and then I click on add market snapshot, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So when I get there, then it has basic info and then property details. So in basic info, when I try to type in the city, it doesn't populate with, like I've tried a whole bunch of different cities, it doesn't populate or anything.
Remember when we have to go back in and I think we added them as our active cities or something? We have to do something because this happened in class and none of them would populate. And so we had to go back in and add them somehow. I can't remember. I did it. Brayden told us how to do it. I just don't remember how I did it.
Yeah, it's for not your preferred areas,
Your
areas you're working in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it shouldn't do that on the market report. I don't send out, go back to that, if you can bring it up on the screen again. So usually what I'm sharing with them isn't this market report. I said market report, go back here. I'm doing the market report.
A snapshot or report?
So that's the snapshot. Go to market report. Yeah, and then you just have a location and you should be able to type in any, is that the one you're doing?
On market snapshot, where's market report?
Right below it.
Right below it.
Brayden?
Yep. I can share my screen.
So I have add home report, add market snapshots, and then send welcome email.
So if I go,
you don't have the market report there?
Oh,
Leave it open there for a second.
here we go. So you're on the engagement tab.
Yep.
Okay. Market report is the third option down.
And you're saying you're not seeing that?
Oh, no, okay. Now I see it. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then hit new report. And then try, put in Draper. Yeah, there's Draper, Utah. Yeah, I haven't sent out the market snapshot as much just because I wasn't as fond of the information that was provided, but I'm going to look more into that. But usually if they're a buyer, it's property alerts, seller, or a homeowner market report or home report. And then the market reports I send to both.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a monthly report that goes out. Whereas the property alerts, go to property alert and do a new alert just so they can see where this is.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you some pointers on this one, is that you have to fill it out first, but once you've filled out what you feel like is the criteria that they're looking for, you can decide how often it goes out to them. And so the more active they are, you have to do next. Yeah.
Yep.
So here, do you see the schedule there and the frequency? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to make sure that if they're really active, do it for every day that a new property comes out. If they're not so active, do it like 1 day a week or 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So you do have the option to, so you don't want to bug them too much if they're just kind of looky-loos right now. But once they're more active, then of course you want to make that frequency higher.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We have
Perfect.
another handout
And
there.
Rex, go ahead.
Hey, I've got in the market report setting, I've got Park City, Utah. I went to preview it. It says there's not enough information for that to have a report. Is that common? Is that typical for an area not to have a report?
For all of Park City, yeah. Go to the back and let's see if we can do that for Park City. So do a market report.
Market report.
Yeah, just delete that
delete
one. Yeah,
that
actually
one.
do one.
You don't need to be sending Ashley a bunch of market reports.
Nope. Yeah, Ashley, I'm testing this on you. So,
That's okay. Take one for the team.
so Rex, when I type in Park City, so I type in Park and it has Park City as one word. So for Park City, Utah, and then it's letting me save it.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Park City common.
You're also a member of the Park City MLS, so you will have even more options supposedly. So I'll have to take a look at that. Let me take a look and see why. But again, the biggest thing that I found with the CRM is that if you just type something in and you just type it in quickly, type it in slowly, and then look for the drop downs, because it
Drop down Park City, Utah.
Yeah, if there is a drop down, just click on that drop down and then it should be fine.
Well, Rex is saying that there's not enough information.
Even
right?
after you click on it?
Yeah, so I'm clicking on, I click on edit, I click on preview. It says we currently don't have enough data for this area. The reports will be sent when more data is collected. So there's a little bar that comes up that says can't preview.
So I know what you're talking about because I have seen that before as well. That's funny. I'm testing all these cities and
we even are doing Park City and it's showing up.
Here's the other thing. I noticed it on my website. It shows Captivate Agent. It does not show my real estate brokerage. So I'm not sure if it's all linking together.
Yeah, maybe there's something going on there. So we'll take a look at
Rex,
that. Rex,
I'll schedule something with you. We can reconnect and sort things out.
Make sure everything's connected correctly.
Awesome. All right. Other questions? We got a lot of great questions.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, there goes Mike.
All right, Mark,
what do
go
we got?
for it.
Hey, I was wondering if they have figured out what the home report cost is.
So as of right now, it is still whatever the marketplace is, and so I've got mine split with a lender. So I pay $29.50 a month, and my lender's paying $29.50 a month, and that's for 200 home reports. And then there's tiers up from that. We are still in conversation with them to figure out if we can get it cheaper. So as of right now, that's where it's at.
Yeah, but definitely working on it.
That has not been forgotten.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of great questions, lots of great conversations.
Everybody's got Listing Blast dialed then?
Ask them what are they going to talk about next week so we can tell everybody.
What's the conversation? What's topic next week, Braden?
It's a great question.
That's one of the things we'd like to actually hear from you as a group. Please email us or contact Braden or Mike or any of us. Just let us know the things that you're most interested in. We've got lots of things we want to talk about with you, but what you're working on is most important to us. So
yeah.
So please let us know. Any Sam, looks like we have a question from Sam.
Yeah, somehow I missed the app thing. I don't know where the hell my app thing is, how to save it, how to share it, how to use all that shit. So,
all right, write down the app thing.
The app thing.
I could use some one-on-one ginger time.
Okay.
That goes, if you don't mind.
Sam, I'll get you information on the app, and then we can schedule something, get your end of it cleaned up as well. So,
and we can look at some of these tools exactly as sort of outreach
during these
masterminds.
Masterminds,
This whole point of the masterminds, we have to drill into these tools and how we use them in our business.
Yeah. Lisa, go for it.
My question, I guess, would be, as we were going through the lessons with Mike, because I'm wanting to go back and review, because I don't know about you guys, but after the 2-hour time block that we had, other things would take precedent, and then you get
popping up for sure.
So you go another couple days or a week, and then you're like, oh, well, I really wanted to review this and this and this, but I don't want to watch the whole movie. And I know, 3 movies or 3 classes passed. Now, right. Which class is what, right? Like, how do I know? Because they're not, when I went back into our group chat, they're not really labeled. It's today's, so.
Yeah.
I think what we can do with that is we can look at those, that content and
And
actually
then-
kind of
and-
put the
and
topics
add-
that are in it and maybe put them in order.
Well,
Just
yeah.
put that in the video description so that
Yeah.
you can kind of quickly go, oh, this is what this video is about.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, that's a
To go
great
back.
suggestion.
Stamping those, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, and I know Jessica's reached out to me as well on that. So, yep, putting timestamp bullet points on YouTube. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We'll take a look at that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great suggestion. Anybody else? We're coming. We filled our time. Wow.
Yeah, we did.
So awesome.
Okay.
But please, again, please reach out to us and let us know the things that are most important, the things that you want to learn most. We would love to tackle those first. We have loads of things we want to talk about and sort of drive, is kind of like this one where we're seeing a lot of success. But please let us know your ideas too. So.
Yeah, let us know. You can email them in to support@Captivate Agent, or you could even drop them in the group me. We're all a part of that, so we'll watch that and we can track all the inputs over there as well. And make sure we line up some masterminds to help benefit you guys. All right, Sam, you got another question?
So this will be every Thursday at the same time, or is it gonna be
Every Thursday, 10 to 11. Yes, sir. It should be in your calendar.
Same time, same channel.
Really?
Cool.
Up to speed up. Ooh, Jessica, that's a good idea.
Well, what's Jessica's idea?
Jessica said, give us a prep on instructions for the next one. Make sure you're up to speed on XYZ for the next class.
We would love to do that.
Yes. So a prep email. And is everybody on the group me? Because
Well, they're here. They are.
that's true. Well, and I sent a calendar invite too. But make sure on the group me, watch that, because that's probably where I'll drop those next step instructions. And just like we did on this week's class, I'll send out, hey, mastermind timestamp with the link. And then we will also send a reminder out.
Cool.
So,
All right. Liz doesn't know if she's on the group me, so let's add her.
okay, Liz, I'll double check that.
Cool. Well, thank you all for joining and taking. I know your time is precious, so we hope you got a lot of good value today. And as always, we're always here, so please reach out if you got questions. And we will see you on the next one. Same time, same channel.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.